how's everybody doing today? So today we got in this beautiful 2020 BMW M5. So we got a couple of mods that we're gonna do to this car today. The first mod that we're gonna do is gonna be the Eventuri Carbon Fiber Intake system for this car. So we wanted to document it. We wanted to show you guys what this car makes in stock configuration. We haven't modded this car. We haven't made any changes to any files or anything at all yet. So we're gonna go ahead and do our base pulls, and we're gonna see what this car makes in its stock form. We're gonna make 3 pulls, so that way we can get an average of what it's gonna do. Not all 3 pulls are gonna be the same. They should be within each other to about 5% if I had to guess. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna make these pulls. Hopefully you guys like it, you enjoy it. Make sure you watch till the end so you can see what this car makes with our tune and with carbon fiber Eventuri intakes attached.
Bone stock.
Bone stock? Is it rated for like 500?
I guess.
It's gotta be like 550.
I guess 563.
Engine, right?
No, 560 wheel.
Real.
Yeah.
Real stock.
Actually, I'm gonna say 525. No, it's not tuned yet.
The first time?
It's not tuned yet. But I need to add a little bit of a. I need to add some air to the tire.
All right, so we just finished up the 3 pulls on the dyno with this M5. So I want to show you guys the stock graph so I can show you guys what this car makes to the wheels in its stock form. So if you take a look, the first pull that we did was 603 horsepower, 582 foot-pounds of torque. The second pull was 597 wheel horsepower, 583 wheel torque. Then the last pull was 590 horsepower, and then 581 wheel torque. So you can see this car actually had its best pull was the first pull when it was the coldest. Normally, these cars usually like to pick up horsepower when they get hot and you do a couple runs back to back. It's not always that way, as this car has proven. Its highest horsepower pull was that first pull. And earlier I mentioned that they'll be within about 5%. Usually that's a high range when you see a car pick up 20 to 30 horsepower when it's making 500. This car is probably around that 2% range, where it ended up making 13 more horsepower at its strongest pull out of the 3 pull average. So as you can see, this car made the most horsepower on its first pull. It made 609. On its last pull, the third pull, it made 590. So this car probably got a little bit of heat soak and made a little less horsepower. So this horsepower was within about 2%, maybe 3, wasn't at that 5% margin that I mentioned earlier. So now once we put the intakes on, we're gonna do 3 pulls again, and we're gonna take the highest horsepower from the 3 pulls with the intake installed. So if you take a look now, we got Sean, he's pulling the stock air boxes off. We got the new Eventuri air boxes open. So stay with us, and shortly we'll have the intakes installed and you'll see some more pulls.
That is really loud. That actually.
I didn't know the exhaust valve was.
Huh?
I didn't know it had actual exhaust valve. I just found that out.
That is loud.
All right, so as promised, we put the Eventuri intakes on the car. We made 3 pulls with the intakes installed. We didn't adjust or modify the tune at all. Also, earlier in the video, I may have made a small mistake. So this vehicle previously had downpipes and an Acropovic exhaust installed somewhere else. So the car was a stock ECU tune. It did have an Acropovic exhaust as well as catless downpipes. So that 600 that you saw stock essentially is stock tune with modified exhaust parts. But now we did finish putting on the intakes. We made 3 pulls with the Eventuri intakes installed. The car still has a stock ECU tune loaded in it. On the first pull, we made 614 wheel horsepower, 566 wheel torque. Second pull, it picked up a little bit. It made 621 wheel horsepower and 580 wheel torque. On the third pull, it started to heat up a little, made 611 and 571. So these are the 3 runs that we made with the Eventuri intakes installed. So now I'm gonna take the highest horsepower number, which is gonna be the 621. I'm gonna overlay it to the stock graph of the highest number that we had as well for the stock graph. And we're gonna compare the two and see the differences. All right, so now we went ahead and we selected the highest horsepower stock graph, and then we selected the highest horsepower graph with just the intakes installed, as well as the downpipes and exhaust. So here you can see the graph with the intakes installed. The car made 621 wheel horsepower, 580 wheel torque, versus stock intakes, it made 603 wheel horsepower, 582 wheel torque. So you can see here, this car had about a 17 wheel horsepower gain, which is pretty solid just to put some intakes on a car, especially considering that Eventuri advertises this as plus 20 horsepower, I believe, which I believe they would rate them at crank horsepower. So essentially it might even be a little higher than that. So pretty good results just with these Eventuri intakes installed. Now we're gonna go ahead and load our custom file into the car. We're gonna make a pull. We're gonna see what it makes. It is the end of the day, so bear with us. We're gonna knock out this tune tomorrow morning. Stay tuned so that way you guys can see what this car really makes with the tune unlocked. All right, how's everybody doing? We finally finished up that M5. As you can see, we're here on a new day. We finished up the car kind of late, so we got the graph up and loaded. We're gonna show you guys the actual results of what the car did with the tune. So you can see here on the final pull, once the car is actually tuned with the Eventuri intakes, with the Acropovic exhaust, and with the catless downpipes that are already on the car made 730 to the wheel and 674 foot-pounds of torque. You can see the green graph with the ECU tune just topple over the stock graph as well as the stock with the intakes. You could also see where the car actually made 730 wheel horsepower with our tune in comparison to being stock was 588. This was with exhaust and downpipes installed, but stock tune. And then with the Eventuri intakes on, 604, car kind of dipped down a little past 6,500 with the stock ECU file. With the new ECU file, you can see at that very tip, it kind of holds the power as well as through the whole graph. This M5 is gonna feel amazing on the street. Make sure you guys like and comment below. If there's anything that you guys wanna see in our future videos, make sure you leave that in the comments so we can get that done for you.